Hello all. We are dealing with the translation of Mullai Paatu, one of the Agam poems in the anthology of Patthupaatu. We saw how the lady was grieved about the hero being away at the battlefront and how inconsolable she was even after the elders tried to cheer her up. We also had a glimpse of the battle camp and were taken to the king's tent. Let us move further into the poem and see how the king feels. மன்னனின் இருப்பிடத்தில் விளக்கேற்றும் பெண்கள் குறுந்தொடி முன்கை கூந்தல் அம்சிறப்புறத்து இரவு பகல் செய்யும் தின்பிடியோள் வாழ் விரவு வரி கச்சின் பூண்ட மங்கையர் நெய் உமிழ் சுரையர் நெடுந்திரி கொழியே கையமை விளக்கம் நந்துதொரும் மாட்ட. Ladies light the lamps in the king's den. Slender-waist beauties with long hair curtain small back, dazzling sword that brightens dusk like noon, fastened to the dames' waistbands, holding fragrant oil-filled mugs to light the tall lamps bright, lighted again as the flame dimmed and faded. The poet explains how the women soldiers took care of lighting the tall lamps in the king's tent. The women wore thin bangles and had long hair that reached the small of their backs. They had bright and sharp swords tied in their belts or waistbands, and they had huge mugs with narrow mouths. These mugs had oil that was so sweet smelling. The lamps in the king's tents was tall and had beautifully crafted women figurine holding the cup of the lamp. This is called Pavai Vilakku, where Pavai means woman and Vilakku means lamp. The women in charge of lighting these lamps stood by the side and constantly relighted the lamps again and again. பாசறையில் காவலாளர் நெடுநா ஓன் மணிநிழத்திய நெடுநாள் அதிரல் பூத்த ஆடு கொடிப்படார் சிதர்வரல் அசைவடிக்கு அசைவந்தாங்கு துகில் முடித்து போர்த்த தூங்கல் ஓங்க நடை பெருமூதாளர் ஏமம் சூழ soldiers in the camp. Midnight, when the long-tongued bells sleep, the shivering while jewel-wined jasmines that swerve with the swerving damp breeze, turbans on head, body wrapped in shawls, briskly walking senior soldiers who tirelessly protect. The poet takes us into the scene of action. It is the middle of the night. The bells tied to the tent posts are still and do not make any sound, and there is a slight wet breeze in the air. The wild jasmine bushes and other creepers sway in the breeze. The poet says that there is a slight wetness in the air. It is obvious because we already noted that Mullai land is known for its sudden spells of rain, and there is always constant dampness. It is such a cool night, and the big tent is protected by brisk and vigilant soldiers who are the senior-most and experienced of the entire army. நாழிகை கணக்கர் பொழுது அளந்து அறியும் பொய்யா மாக்கள் தொழுது காண்கையர் தோன்ற வாழ்த்தி எரிநீர் வையகம் வெளிய செல்வோய் நின் குறுநீர் கண்ணல் இணைத்து என்று இசைப்ப. The timekeeper. People with impeccable knowledge of time praise and hail the king with their hands folded. You who has set sail to conquer the seas of the world, thou clock shows, this time they speak. Here's an interesting information. People might have heard this word narigai quite often, which is confused with normal time. Actually, it is not so. Here is a detailed account of narigai and its equivalents. 1 narigai is equal to 24 minutes, and 2.5 narigai is actually 60 minutes or an hour, and 3.75 narigaigal is equal to 1 muhurtam, which is actually 90 minutes or approximately 1.5 hours. 60 narigai is equivalent to 8 jamam, which is or 2 பொழுதுகள் as they say in ancient Tamil. It is actually 1 day or the entire 24 hours. These are few of the important units of time used 3,000 years ago or even before that by ancient South Indian people. They used shadows, their measurements, position of sun, moon and stars to determine the time accurately. There were other techniques like Kurunir Kannal or water clock, Pullai Nirutti Alandu Aridal, weed grass technique, Viral Niralal Narihi Aridal, finger shadow clocks, and so on. Here in Mullai Paatu, the poet mentions the water clock technique, Kurunir Kannal, which the timekeeper uses. Ancient times had kings and queens appoint wise men or women who were experts in astronomy and astrology. They were highly talented and accurate all the time. In this case, too, the king had his timekeeper in the battle camp. The timekeeper kept the king informed of accurate time to perform important tasks. In this poem is the water clock technique that the timekeeper used. Every line in the poem gives us insight into the brilliance of our ancestors. Stay tuned for more. Catch you in the next part. Thank you.